Hey, what's up guys? For the next 3 days I'll be alone in the Swedish nature. I'll be spending the night in 3 cabins like this, hiking and exploring the area, cooking amazing foods, and most importantly, I'll be having a good time. Okay, there goes my ride. I'll see him in 3 days. As you could see on that sign, it was a warning sign. It's because I'm pretty close to a space station where they launch rockets. I think I'm a couple kilometers away from the place where they actually launch the rockets. So when they're doing that, this area is of course quite dangerous. But for the next few days, I don't think they have anything planned, so should be fine. Here we are. And all these brown spots are outdoor grills. It's where you can make fires. And these are information signs like this one. So I'm gonna go down the trail and I want to actually end up at the river. Very dry, good firewood. Keep this one in mind. One of my favorite things about the hiking trails in Sweden is that they are always marked with this orange paint on trees and rocks. No matter where you go in Sweden, always just so well marked. And if there's multiple trails that are crossing each other, they will have like an orange one and a red one. But just the overall trails and nature in Sweden, chef's kiss. Very well preserved, very well marked. Another one. This is where I'll be sleeping tonight. Make a nice little fire there. Seems pretty good. Check out the outhouse. Look at that. In case you're very close to your friend, you can sit next to each other. I'll be trying this one out later today. And then tomorrow, I want to go to the one on the top. Well, I'm gonna visit both, but the one on the top, Patafara Gruva. Probably butchered that. But tomorrow I'm going there. It's an old copper mine, but I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. I think it's time for dinner. So I arrived kind of late here today, so it's already dinner time. So I think it's time to get some firewood and see if we can get a fire started here. Also, I changed my camera settings a little. But let me know in the comments if you like the new settings or if you like the old settings. Should look a lot different from last videos. So for dinner tonight I got some pork with me. Grill marinated original pluma. Don't really know exactly what that is. And I'm gonna put it around this stick and I'm gonna hold it over the fire. I saw more and more of the rope getting burned through. So before I lost all my meat in the fire, I decided to switch over to a pan. Oh, look at this, guys. Right guys, I think it's time to do the dishes and wash my hands a little bit. Fun fact, I just used the outhouse and there was no toilet paper, but I brought my own, which I normally never do, which has led to me doing some unspeakable things, especially in the winter time. I may or may not have shoved some snow up my ass. Anyways, this is the first time that I brought it with me, and this is also one of the first times. No, I think this is the first time I run into an outhouse that has no toilet paper. Just throw this in the bin. Although it might not look like it, it is already quite late. It is past 12, so I'm going to bed soon. But before I do that, I'm gonna add some water to my bread dough, because tomorrow morning I want to make warm fresh bread with honey and butter. So I already prepped all the ingredients. I just gotta add some water. For my essentials bottle, so it's 10VJ15 for 15% off. Links in description. That's done. So I'm gonna let that rise overnight, and I think it's time to put the sleeping bag down. I don't know if I said that before, but I'm above the Arctic Circle, so the sun doesn't set, so it doesn't get darker than this. But yeah, I'll dive into bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Luke and Tom here at the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel, and we're hiking, camping.
Good morning. I slept pretty well last night. There were quite a few mosquitoes that got to me on my head. That's fine. I also had to put up the tarp because it started to rain, and there's a lot of leaks in the roof, so there was water dripping right on top of my head. So I put up the tarp. I think it's time for some fresh bread and honey butter. That was the second time I tried this. In the last video was my first time. And it's already looking a lot better. Not as burned. Got a little jar with honey and butter. Alright, breakfast is finished. I'm gonna pack everything up and we're gonna hike towards the river and copper mine. So I'm leaving all my stuff here. I'll just bring my water bottle and I got some snacks in my pocket. I'm going on the hike. Lots and lots of firewood here. So many trees have fallen down or broken off. I don't know why that is. Whether it's just the wind or that maybe there is like a beetle or something that's killing off the trees. Alright, we'll be going left here. Because if we go straight, we go to the Epakoski-hita. A lot of these names are not Swedish. They're more Finnish because of the Sami people. The Sami people is the indigenous people of this area. And they've been living here for thousands of years. And they still live here. The official Sami language is closer to Finnish than it is to Swedish. And Swedish is a Germanic language. So it's close to English. It's close to Dutch, German, Norwegian, Danish, Swedish. It's all kind of the same. And Finnish is, I don't know what it, but it's closer to like Estonia, to like those kind of languages. So it's very difficult to correctly pronounce these Sami/Finnish names. So moose droppings. Another nice little spot with a bench, and you can make a fire there. And there's even a little shed with firewood back there. But we are at Patavara, as you can see. I'm gonna read and then tell you everything. Right, so in the second half of the 17th century, they had a copper ore mine right here behind me. They think that it may have looked something like this when it was operational. And up here they did an archaeological investigation in the 1980s, and they found that There were a couple cabins here, a couple houses, some underground storage and some forges, and that used to lay here. This might be one of those spots which used to be underground storage, but there's also pictures, so they think that may have looked like this. So when they got the copper ores from underground and they got them up, they removed some rock, and then they, with sledgehammers, they would smash the copper ore and make it into smaller bits. And that was mostly done by women and children, because they were cheaper laborers. And so the men were in the mine and the women and children would, you know, do the buckets up and down system, and they would smash the ores. And then they would use reindeers to pull all the copper ore to the smelting place, which is about 1 kilometer from here. So that's where I'll be hiking now. A lot of rocks here. This might be like the spare rock that didn't have any copper in it. Maybe it does. I don't know, I'm not that smart with rocks. But I do know there's a million ants on that one. Worst rock I could have gotten there. But they are all a bit orange, which orange-red, that is the color of copper, so I don't know. Fun fact about the color of copper, you know, here in Sweden, most houses are red. It's like the typical color for Swedish houses. And the reason for that is also because of a copper mine. But it's because of a massive copper mine in Dalarna, which is another part in Sweden, a little bit more down. Because there they would harvest a lot of copper, and then one of the rest products was like a red pigment that they could use in paint. And that paint was a very good paint and a very strong paint that protected the wood very well from all the elements. And because they had a copper mine, it was so big and it was a rest product, they had quite a lot of it. So the paint was cheap and it worked very well. So most people went for it. That's why the typical Swedish house is red. Nowadays it's more like a cultural thing, but that's where it originates from. Brought some Oreos. I got the double creams. Double the white stuff. Another one of those shelters that I slept in last night. Also with an outhouse. Maybe for another video I can go here. But for now we continue the trail towards the smelting place. This is another archaeological site. Here's the foundations of a cabin. I think this is it. While they were exploring different pieces of ground to find more copper ores, they needed these small little shelters for overnight stays. Once again, this is probably what it looked like. And this house is dated back to the 19th century and is estimated to have been built somewhere in the 1840s. Once again, so much firewood here. You remember yesterday I told you guys that we always have the orange markings, and if there's another trail, they'll be marked red or something. And look, here I have to go on the orange. There's another trail. And see, these trees have indeed red markings, so this will be another trail, which I think after we've checked out the smelting spot, I think I might follow this trail for a little bit, see where it goes. Here it is. This is where they smelted, down here. Here you see also the reindeers and the sleds. They used the reindeers to transport the copper ores in the wintertime, and in the summertime they would use the river and they would use boats, because, well, I'll walk over there now. There's a river here that connects to the Torno River, which is one of the biggest rivers in Sweden, and also the river where the ice hotel gets their ice from. There's two forages. That's where down there you see a hole from something underground as well, and this is where they roasted the copper ore. So before smelting it, they roasted it, and you can still see here the thing. So inside here I would imagine they had like a fire going and they roast the copper ores, and it's quite unhealthy because by roasting it there was arsenic and sulfur fumes being released, so of course not the best for your lungs. So in summer they use boats, and in winter reindeers. One reindeer could pull about 100 kilos worth of copper. Everything here was also powered by water power. This was all owned by two Dutch brothers, so that must have come from them, because the Dutch are famous for using water power to power anything. They dried up whole pieces of land. Amazing people, truly. I may or may not be Dutch. Anyways, this is a small bit, and then back there's a little bit bigger. I think that's enough about the copper mine. I think it's time to explore that other trail that we just ran into. Got a built-in filter, so I can just drink it like this. Not much here. I think I'm heading back to the camp. I think it's time for lunch. Alright, I got some coffee. Now I got some pancakes as well. There we go. Pour some ahorn syrup. Just eat them from the package. Alright guys, I'm pretty tired after the hiking, so I'm just gonna take it easy for the afternoon now. Brought my book. I'm just gonna read my book, sit back, relax, and then I'll see you guys at dinner time. I acquired some more wisdom by reading the book. Now I think it's time to get some firewood and get some hot dogs on the grill. Taste test. Forgot my ketchup. That's dinner. I think it's time to make a cup of tea and head into bed. I got Autumn Storm. These tea bags always come with a question attached to it to make some small talk while you're drinking your tea. So I'll ask you the question and we can have a little bit of small talk. What does your night ritual look like? I'll go first and you go second in the comments. I don't really have one. Might be a boring answer, but I don't think I have one. Brush my teeth, change clothes, doom scroll. Watch ASMR. That's a fun fact about me. I watch a lot of ASMR. I know it's kind of a frowned upon thing to do. It's not frowned upon, but a lot of people cringe over it. I don't. I think 5 out of 7 nights of the week I watch ASMR. Get to know me. Now you know, guys. Let me know what your nightly ritual is.
Good morning. It's really early, but I need to catch my ride back home, so I better start with breakfast.
Alright, breakfast is done. Time to go back to the car. Gotta hold the pan in my hand because it's still too hot to put in the backpack. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to leave a like. I post a new video every Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. So subscribe so you don't miss that one. And I hope to see you in the next video.